It's Sarah from Student Communications here at OCAD U, and I'm here to give you a tour of the George Reid Wing and some of the work we've been doing here. It's going to be finishing up in a few weeks. We have a mold making class starting in May, so I thought I'd give you a little preview of what's happening here.
Through consultation with students and faculty and technicians, we had a good look at the Foundry and the mold making areas to see how they worked and what students were doing and how we were teaching in those spaces. And we came to the conclusion that we needed to kind of break up the Foundry especially into two different zones where students and potentially visiting artists, which is another thing we're really looking at, didn't have to work over top of each other depending on the process, their stage in the process. So we separated the wax work out from the metal work. Previously, we had to do our work in wax and then switch the whole room over to silica coating, ceramic shell coating, and then switch over to metal work for finishing. And it was always, you had to be in step while everybody did the same process. So it gives us a lot more flexibility and it gives us a lot more space to work in. So here we are in the metal working area of the Foundry. This is where we've separated out the metal working portion of the Foundry process. So in this space we'll be, once the Foundry pieces are done, you'll be cutting off your gating, you'll be grinding, polishing, welding, and doing your patinas in this zone. We've separated off with a sound attenuating wall, an area that will be more for grinding, for welding as well. We'll have a plasma cutter, which we haven't had up to now. And with that area walled off like this, it'll really help to attenuate the sound. Grinding with air tools is one of the worst sounds in the history of the world. Also fumes. A big part of working in these facilities is that you have fumes from patina work especially, but also smoke from welding and that kind of thing. So we're really trying to make a healthier environment by controlling sound and fumes. The architects have done a really great job in speccing and sourcing the lighting. It's a much brighter facility than it previously was, and that helps to really cut down on fatigue when you're working long hours in the studio. So now we're in the wax working area of the Foundry. It's formerly the mold making studio. We've separated out that function in order to better control fumes from wax, give students more space to work. And one of the main things we've done is connect the silica room with a doorway from this side so that the workflow is better, and you can, once you're finished your wax, you can move into silica and then move from silica down to the furnace room and then back into metal. We have a small studio space that's set up where we'll have a scanning station, and 3D printing is available as well. We want to incorporate those processes into Foundry and mold making processes, so they'll be more accessible to students directly from the studio. So now we're in the mold making area. It's slightly bigger in square footage from the previous mold making space. It's got a little bit more natural light coming in, and it will have 2 sinks and plenty of room for students to work. So now we're on level 2 of the George Reid Wing. Here we have 2 spaces. One space that's been dedicated to the expansion of ceramics. And then at the far end is the multi-purpose room, which will be a more public space open for small events and just a general social gathering space. This space is going to become part of ceramics. It'll add approximately 600 square feet or so of extra space. And what it will allow ceramics to do would really to be spread out a bit more, have the wheels available, open and available rather than having to be tucked away during class time. This wall over here in a couple of weeks will be torn down, just kind of allowing us to open up right through from ceramics and create one large space for the studio.